Awesome. Great. Awesome. So as usual, we want to start off with SPY and can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? If you can see my screen, just put one. And tell me what screen you see. SPY, perfect. That's the one I want to see. Thank you. All right. I'll be in a minute. Tech and I are having some issues today, but it's all good. Um, all right, so this is Spy Daily. I just put it up there, and you guys can see we had that huge spike on Friday. You know, Spy opened on he opened at um, trying to get this out. I think he opened the. Oh, why is this? This thing is. Let me see if I can hide it. No, that's not what I want to see. Trying to say this, but it's not letting me. Anyway, SPY opened here, which is around 445. They're about ran up to 445.95, and then um, no, I think SPY opened here at 445.56, came down here, shot up, and then ended the day there. So we had a good we had a good Friday, which was a huge jump up from which practically continued what we saw on Thursday as well. So it was a continuation move, a breakout from here. You can see we had this 3 days here, then we had this upward movement here, and this. So we had our breakout. We had this consolidation here, and then broke out this breakout here. So SPY made some good moves. Nothing to say it won't continue that move this week, but it's literally at an all-time high right now. So we won't be surprised if it pulls back, but so far so good. It's looking good, at least on the daily. And if I look at the 4 hours, not surprisingly, we had the first half green, the other half red. So it pulled back and ended here. So we'll need to see if it holds this line tomorrow and builds from there, or if it drops again to somewhere around here. So SPY is definitely something we want to see how it does. But so far, I like what I'm seeing in SPY. It's very bullish. At this point in time, from all I've seen in SPY. And just to help me see what it looked like on the weekly, this is what we've had on the weekly. So even when we've had red days, we've been going in a trend with SPY. You can see it clearly. SPY has been on an uptrend. It's been going that way. So even the weeks that looks like will come down, we're still going down. If you just, and this is just me just having fun now. If you look at it from a monthly perspective, we've had 5 green months, 2 red months, 2 green months, one. So it's just been bullish as a whole, on an uptrend. Even when it comes down, it's still coming down within the trend. So for us, we know that we're in a trend with SPY, and we're just trying to time and go with that trend. Yes. Okay. All right. So that's that's the for SPY. So I like what I'm seeing in SPY. Obviously, keen to see what happens tomorrow. I'm not predicting anything, but I'll react to whatever it gives me. But so far, I like what SPY. I like how SPY looks right now. I like the fact that it broke out from this consolidation, this 3 days, almost 4 days, no, 3 days consolidation. Decided made a move here and then gapped up after that. So it looks good to me. But we'll wait and see what happens. Same for um Nasdaq Composite. Um, this one is slightly different because it's been down, it's been trading sideways for a long time, and it's important. I talk about this because people say, "Oh, something went up this week, so it must go down next week. No, it could actually trade sideways next week. So what's your play for that? It's not because it goes up this week doesn't mean it's gonna go down next week. I see people say, "Oh, AMD ran crazy last week, so AMD must go down this week." Not That's not 100% true all the time. AMD might go sideways. How do you play that? If I'm looking at Nasdaq, which is tech has been going this way since the 14th of July. It's just been going this way. Comes down here, stays here, comes down here. But if you look at it, all this can be captured in a box. Everything here can be captured in a box. So we've not yet had, even though tech has been looking good, we've not had a proper breakout. And if you guys remember, when all those stocks were having their earnings, Amazon, Google, and all the rest. If you guys remember, I said let's look at this in the next 4 weeks, right? I had a reason I said that because if all those things happen and we didn't have any run, I knew that it was going to take a while to we're going to have some form of consolidation before we had our breakout. No one knew what that looked like, but it made sense to give it some time. 4 weeks, based on what we're seeing, 4 weeks looked like a realistic time frame to give to it you know. And if you see what I'm saying, this is the last 4 weeks. One, two, three, four, five. Let's even look at the last. Let's look at the last. How many weeks? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. It's all been here. So we've not been able to go past here. Oh, why are you doing that? I just want to show you guys. Look at it. Everything that's been happening here has been happening in this box. So we've not been able to get past this box. So if this, and this is on the weekly, so if this tomorrow opens up here or something, we know that, okay, we're breaking out of this box and we're going into a new terrain. So I'm keen to see what happens tomorrow because this has just been going on for so long. And if you want to look at it, we've come close to it multiple times. We've tapped it here once, tapped it here. We've come here, we've had this consolidation. We're trying to see if we'll get another break. So I'm very keen on seeing what happens here because if this happens the way we want it, then all those stocks that we've not been playing for some time, they all come back into play. And we started seeing some slight movements last week. We saw some movement with Microsoft, we saw some movement with Facebook. So it's like a couple of them are beginning to move a little bit. They're not up yet, but they're beginning to move a little bit. So I'm very keen to see what happens because if tech wakes up this week, then we'll have we're up for greater times. But it's still watching for now. There's no um, up until now we've not had a play on it. That's why if you notice, I've hardly called out any play on all those big names that we're used to because we've not had a run, we've not had a break, we've not had a confirmation of any sort. That might be coming up soon. So keeping an eye on it. So that's Nasdaq and SPY. Then let me talk about a few tickets that I've got on my screen. I think I called Nothing Luck before, and it's still there. I like this one. Its price is okay. It looks great. It's had its pullback. It's run all the way down here. It's dropped. It's consolidated somehow. We've had four candles sideways, one, two, three, four, and then we had this gap up here, and we're having one, two, three. Price ended here on Friday, ended here. So we're seeing some slight movement upwards a little bit here on the daily. Um, keen to see cross. This line is my 50. I want to see if it crosses the 50 on this one, but this is one of those plays that before I even go on, most of the plays I'm looking at are swing plays. Yes, you can play them for the weekly and get your money from it, fine. But a lot of the plays I'm looking at, most of these plays on here are plays that will run up until September, or plays that we're gonna buy time till September on. So with this one, I'm anticipating a move on it. I expect it to, break out and run, but I'll look for the right call for it. And but you know, like I said, you're gonna get a call for September. You can get in and get out. If you're in profit, you get out, you roll into another one. Um, but the call itself, but the ticker itself is looking good for me. I like this sideways movement. I like this consolidation on the right hand side on the daily. If I look at the weekly, this is what the weekly looks like. It came all the way down, it's found support and it's bounced off and had this big, huge gap up. I expect it to continue this week. So this is one of keen interest for me. And if I just want to make this more exciting, I could just draw a line here and I can see that it's tapped it here once, tapped it here twice, tapped it here 3 times, ended here 4, 5, 6. So it tells me that this is a major support area. So this bounce doesn't surprise me. So I like it and I'll be watching out for it. If this decides to drop down, I know it's dropping down to 26, 23, 63 probably. So I'm not in a hurry to go into it. I'll watch to see what it does and then I'll decide to go in or not. Um, let's look at Sonos. Similar play, sideways, gapped up, um, you know, ended here, jumped up there, came back down, ended here, opened here, ran up, came down, ran up, ended here. So I can see similar stuff as well with Sonos. I like this one. I think there was some news on Sonos. Let me see. Do, 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 do. Okay. Can't remember what it was. All right, I'll leave it. Yeah, either way, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is an inside. When we say an inside bar, that means where the body and the wick of the last candle forms inside this one. Like it can fit into the body and wick of the previous candle. So looking at this, everything here fits into this. So this is an inside bar. A lot of times you either get another inside bar or you get a decision. An inside bar literally is if tomorrow opens and it goes up here and it closes above both of this one, it's very likely it's going to run. It comes down here and it closes below this two, it's likely going to fall. So an inside bar is very easy to play. So we'll watch and see what happens tomorrow. But I like it. I like the inside bar. Like I said, similar to the other one. You can see the move here. It's ran up, hit resistance, came down here, found support, consolidated here, and it's now trying to go back up again. So this is another one that I'm not willing to play for 1 week because I think the move materializes after 1 week. It's not gonna materialize in 1 week. So I'm not gonna sell myself short here and just go for 1 week play. I'll look for it. Well, I'll let you guys know once I see it. That's Sonos. I had IBM as well. Very similar stuff also. Went up, came all the way down, has been sideways. Everything here has been happening in this box. We need a breakout. So, and I just do this because it's so easy to visualize it when you do all this. It's a very easy trick, but it does the work for you because this way you can say, okay, everything here is traffic. I need it to get out of traffic. So if it doesn't get up here, I'm not taking this play. It's just how I look at it. I don't care if somebody says, oh, it's running or whatever. It's running could be from here to here. But that means nothing for me if it's not breaking. We saw that with a couple of plays last week where, a couple of people got excited about some plays, but those plays were in traffic and at the end of the day they all bounced back down. So that didn't make sense to me and I didn't touch those plays. So if you look at it, you've got this. We need it to break here, and then if it breaks here, we know that we're looking at 147, 147.50 or thereabout. So we have to wait for that. But I like it. It looks great. I look at the weekly also. This is the weekly. It's all happening there as well. It needs to break out. So there's a lot going on with this play that I like, that I'm watching for now. That's IBM. I have the plays listed down already. I know the plays I'm looking at. I already have them written down, but we need to see them. We need the confirmation, which is the breaking out of these sections. Starbucks is another one that I like, and I think there was what's his name? This guy mentioned it last week on the group, and I told him I liked it. I asked him to put out the play. He didn't for some reason, but he was right to mention Starbucks because Starbucks actually started making some move. If you look at it on the daily, gapped up, had 3 days here, couldn't break the resistance, and then gapped down and dropped, fell down. We had the H here, which is a bearish sign. So it fell down here. The good thing is it fell down just to the spot. Now, it had this decision, it fell down further here, and then it hit this support and gapped up. So now ended up green. So now I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, Starbucks, are you trying to reverse or are you trying to give me a fake out? Because remember, we had a fake out here. Someone might have gone in, someone might have gone in here and bought a call and it still faked you out and you came down here. So Starbucks is at that point I'm like, okay, I need to watch and see what you do. If you decide to go up here, fine. If you're gonna fake me out again, sorry guys, that's my little one. Ellie, you know. So that's my if he decides to fake me out here again, I'll wait for it. If he decides to move up here, I want to see it cross this line. If I want to be extra careful, I'll wait for it to cross here, but I think I can do with it closing above here, which is 11:30 or thereabout. So um I've got my eyes on this one. I like it. I think the move is solid. I think so. I think it's beginning to reverse, um, but we don't know yet. The one thing I do know about Starbucks is that once Starbucks starts running, it runs. Once it picks up momentum, it runs. So it's definitely one I'm interested in seeing what it does. And if I just show you the weekly again on Starbucks, this is what it looks like. And that's what I'm telling you that it's very, you don't want to play this in one week. When I'm talking about multiple week plays, this is the weekly. It's run up, it's dropped down. It's probably gonna form another green candle here and then have another reversal here and another reversal here. That's probably 3 days, 3 weeks already. So why do you want to take it for 1 week? You can afford to take a longer play and then you take your profits, you roll it into a play again, you take your profits. So it's one of those plays that is a swing. This is not a scalp, this is not a daily trade, this is a swing play. How you do it, if you don't have to keep your money on the table till when the contract is expired. If you make 100% on it, you sell half, you take your 50%, you leave the remaining 50, it goes up again, you sell another 20. It's all about management, money management with this plays. Even if it's a swing, you can still take your profits and still leave something on the table to make sure that you don't close out on everything. That's great. And most importantly, this is bouncing off this fifth. This is the 50. No, this is my 20, sorry. Uh, yeah, that's my 20. So this is bouncing off the 20 here. So I need to see if it crosses above this line, goes up. That's on the weekly. On the daily, it's still below it, but we need to see it cross that line on the daily. So I have what I'm looking for clearly on this one for Starbucks. I like this one. It excites me because Starbucks is one of my favorite tickers. That does what it should do. Um, AMD. This one is back in play for me, like seriously back in play, and I'll ask everybody to have AMD back on their list of possible plays for. Um, I have AMD for 2 weeks actually. I have AMD for this week and for next week. I like it so well. It's run up, it's pulled back, it's consolidated sideways, had its first grain on Friday. Need to see what it's gonna do tomorrow, but AMD might open up and run up. I see AMD getting to 115, and that's very, very conservative. I see it getting to 115 if it opens up above here. So I need AMD actually let me add it follow. If I'm gonna be very, if I want that extra confirmation, just like we did for Microsoft and all the other plays we took last week, we waited for the extra confirmation before we touched it. If I want that extra confirmation, I'll put AMD here. This should be my entry for AMD 122.40, right? So I'll wait for AMD to close above 122.40 and then I'll take the 115 call, or even the one, I think I got 115 for this week and 120 for next week. I think AMD gets there. That's my opinion. But I will watch and see what it does. I like this move here. I like the fact that it's all bouncing off around here, and this is my anchored VWAP. This blue line is my anchored VWAP, so it's resting on top of it, which is great. And my anchored VWAP, my range for this one, I took it from July 21st when the market opened on July 21st. So that's almost a month, 3 weeks, about 3 weeks ago. I've been trying to use that. So that gives me a good enough range of what I'm looking for. So I'm seeing this and it's resting on it, so I like it quite well. And I'll see what happens there. But it's definitely one of my favorite tickers for the next 2 weeks, literally, not just this week, for the next 2 weeks. And if I look at the weekly, this is what the weekly looks like. 4 week sideways, huge, huge spike here, went up, came back down here, ended here. So it's already, we know that there's resistance here already because it tried to go past it, it came back, ended below it. It tried to touch it here. If you look at it, it touched it here, came back down. So we know there's resistance around here. So this has to break for us to know that it's gone past. It has to break and hold. And when we say break and hold, that means it crosses here, it forms a candle here, and it forms a confirmation candle here. So probably 2 candles. Most people go for 3 candles. I like to see at least 2 or 3 candles here above this white line for me to know that, yeah, the line is holding. Because sometimes you could get a break here and you think it's ready to go, and then you buy a play and the next thing it dumps on you because this did not hold. So I like to see it hold before I jump into a play. So I'll be watching out for this one. But I really really like AMD. I think I think we got some plays in there for us for AMD. And then the last one which I have is Dash. This was Dash. Okay. So this is Dash. It's let me minimize the screen. So we had our double bottom in a way. Now, can I call it that really? But you had this. It's not a cup and handle because it failed, but it's almost like a double bottom. So you had this one here, you had this here, you had this here. So all these things here were great, but now we're now focusing on this area, right? So it came up here. We know that there was resistance. It consolidated here, but it couldn't break through. It consolidated here, couldn't break through, had this, and then it dropped back down. It came back here again, couldn't break through, it dropped back down. It came back here again, couldn't break through, right? It dropped here. And then on Friday, we had this huge spike, right? So we know that it's been moving, right? It's been trying to move the right way. It had this massive spike on Friday. It opened at 181. It closed at 194. So it had about 13. This was a $13 move on Friday. If you look at it, it opened at 181, and closed at 194. Oh, that's huge. Okay. So when I've looked at all this, and you can see I've put all my risk and target stuff here already. When I look at this one, I don't know why I didn't do this for the others. I'll do that later today. I'm like, okay, so we know that it wants to move. We know that there's resistance here, right? We know that already. If I just draw this line here, I can even put it here. There's one here. Yeah. Yeah, we know that there's supply resistance here, this line here. We know that. We know it's been doing this. It broke it but bounced back up. So we know that. However, that's what's below us. The issue is what's above us. Where do we know that it needs to get past? And the first line I drew was here. The reason I did that was I took here, right? So I took the top of this week here. I drew it to say, okay, where's it touches that one. it touches this one, and I did that on my phone initially, so that's why it didn't touch perfectly, but good. So for me now, I'm like, okay, it's touched one, it's touched two, it's touched three. So if I'm using that trajectory, I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, so I know that it needs to cross this line because this is already a resistance line. But also using this trajectory of where the next stop is, I also know that it needs to cross this point here, which is around 190, um, which is around 197.22. It needs to cross 197.22. Current price is 194.79. So the question now becomes, how do I want to play this? Do I want to take a call now should I want to take a 195? I've not checked the options chain, but do I want to take, for example, do I want to take a call for 197, knowing that it could get to 196.50, and then I sell that contract and take my money, and then wait for it to cross this line and get back again. The reason being, we know that this is a resistance line. So for me, the question is, even without anybody, Ellie, even without anybody telling you, if you know that there's a resistance somewhere, you should say, okay, what do I want to do with that resistance? There's a reason we call out the resistance. It's for you to make decisions. So do you want to take a call now and let it run to 197 and then you sell it? And then you wait to see if it crosses this line or if it gets rejected. It gets rejected, you know that there's a put to be gotten between here and here. It doesn't get rejected, you know that there's a call to be gotten between here and here. That's how I play. So this was a highlight. Let me put another one here. There's another line here. And I'm just trying to show you where the profit targets are. Why is this thing acting up? Great. So these are my profit targets. So without saying much to you guys, I already know what I'm doing. I know that if I take a call tomorrow for Dash, I'm taking probably a 196, 197. I've not checked the chain. If it runs up, Ellie, 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 that is on the phone, okay? Yeah. I let it run up. I could sell it. Maybe if I buy 4 contracts or 2 contracts, I could sell. If I have 2 contracts, for example, I could sell one. I could leave one to see what that one does. If I see it pulling back, I'll probably sell it. If I see it break out from here, I'll average up because I know that price might have run up already. I'll average up, but I now know that my new target will be 204. That's how I play. That's how I think about it. So while the trade is happening, I'm not looking at, oh, I called a trade for a certain price yesterday. What I called yesterday was what I saw yesterday. I am managing my trade real time based off on what the market is doing today. If the market is rejecting it here, I am selling that call I made yesterday and I'm taking the put because I know that I have my price target here for that put. If it breaks it here, I know that okay, I've taken out some profits here because I wanted to see what it did and I didn't want to have all my money there. I took out some. Once it crossed over, I bought back into it because I expect it to continue that movement. It's it's being a nimble trader. It's managing your trade as it's happening. That's what this is all about. That's what we're saying here. So I like Dash. I think Dash will go. If I show you the weekly for Dash, this is what the weekly for Dash looks like. So on the weekly, you can see that Dash is breaking out of this spot. So what we were talking about earlier on when I told you guys about area, look at it. So Dash is literally breaking out of this congestion place, right? It's been congested here for a while. Dash is breaking out of it. So now the next candle, which I call the confirmation candle, needs to form tomorrow, right? This is on the weekly, but we need to see another candle, on the daily open up and maybe hopefully end the week up here, which tells me that if that happens, Dash is also a multi week play. because that means we're getting out of this zone and we're getting into a new territory. It now becomes an issue of what happens between here and here, and then what happens between here and here if it goes back. That's how you progress from one area of concentration to another area of concentration to another area of concentration to another. It's a progressive move. It's not, it's not. We talk about A to B, but it's actually A to Z. What happens between A to B? What happens between B and C? What happens between C and D? Each of this is a progression, right? And now, looking at this weekly again, I'm seeing a cup and handle for Dash. This is the cup, this is the handle for Dash on the weekly. So I'm getting more convinced that this play will go. We see the cup here, we see the sideways movement, we see the handle. This box is actually the handle of this play, and we're seeing the first breakout here. So this is the breakout from the cup and handle move that we're seeing here. We need it to confirm, but it's I don't see anything bad in this play as we speak. You know, obviously want to see how it opens up tomorrow, but so far everything about that play tells me that it's definitely one that I need to have on my watch list for the week. I have a few others, but I think these are the main ones that um, we need to focus on this week. I think they're all looking great. They all ended Friday really well. We might see some initial pullback when the market opens, but I expect them to correct and keep going back upward. So these are the major ones that I've got listed for you guys. Any questions on any of these plays that I've just shared? If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. And you can put it in the chat if you don't want to talk. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we got any. So let's like I told you guys before we started, and most of you missed it. I said I was just going to talk a little bit to you guys about what's going on that I'm seeing, and it worries me a little bit. And we're seeing lots of people, and please, this is a conversation to everyone here. So please, if you don't mind, um, if you want to talk, please feel free to jump off the mic. You don't have to type in. I want us to have a real conversation. We've seen a lot of people become frustrated. We've seen a lot of people lose. She's coming. Okay, I'll call her to come. Okay. All right. Go and play with your toy. Go and play with your iPad. I'm coming. It's dead. Okay, bring it. I'll charge it for you. Okay. Yeah. So sorry about that, guys. So I've been seeing lots of people. I see some of the comments. I see um people frustrated. About the plays. I see people losing some money. I see people. Things are not working out for folks the way that they expected it to go. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me just charge my daughter's iPad. Then we can talk. 1 second. Really quick. Once again, sorry about that, guys. It's just I'm the only one at home with my little one, so it's lots of daddy duties going on here. Um, so like I was saying, we've been talking about and STB. I'll come to WBA, but I just want to just address this point. I go on IG, I see people post, and lots of people are getting really sad and not happy about how their plays are turning out. you know, which is very understandable. If you took a play expecting that it's gonna run, completely, and it didn't run and you held on, you're gonna lose. So I can understand being frustrated. So that's been an issue. But the other issue is that we also are not, and I'm saying this including myself, I think we can do better at managing our own money and our own risk. I don't think it's something that, like that you got if you guys are on IG, most of you must have seen the post I put down. I think I even put it on the group whereby I said, if I call out three plays and only one of those three plays goes out and hits 100%, even if you lost 20% on those other two plays, you still made money in general because net you made 28%, on a 33% success rate. That's what trading is. There's no human being that gets no algorithm. Nothing gets all the trades, all the 100%. No one on earth. All those guys you see on IG and everything, if you check their success rates, some of them is less than 20, 30%, right? I see people, swear by certain traders, but I look at those people's numbers. Most of those numbers are not more than 20, 30% success rate. What they do is minimize their risk and expand on their profit, you know, expand on their profit. So when people say, "Oh, T or Hugh, should I cut?" That question alone tells me that you've missed it because if, regardless of what I say, regardless of what anybody says, right? If your stop loss is 20%, why not believe in what you agreed was going to be your stop loss and stick to it? My account, I always say this, my account is different from your account. Someone who has made 100K in the stock market's account is different from my account because the risk that they can take, I can't take it. So when I am saying I'm not cutting a trade because of one or two reasons, it doesn't have to be the same thing for you. If your trade was, if you hit 20%, that's your stop loss, cut it because if you don't have monies left, how are you going to take the next trade? But waiting for me, somebody or messaging us on the group, and I see some of the messages when people ask me questions and I don't respond, because it's not because I'm being rude or anything, but I'm thinking if you've been doing this, if we've been on this journey together for this long, and you're still asking this question, then we're not progressing, So I an example of somebody that is doing it the right way, and I could post the message here, but it's private. She sent me the message. She took her account from 3,000 from 300 to 3,500. I kid you not. She takes the same play everybody takes. She does the same thing everybody does, but she goes by a very strict stop loss. 20%, boom, and she's cutting it. 20% down, she's cutting it. She looks at the next play. 20% down, she's cutting it. If she takes the next one that runs, she lets it run up. She gets her profit. She goes out. She has changed her account from 300. It's on IG. She sent it to me. She sent me a message on IG. She's part of us on this group. She didn't want me to mention her name. She took her account from 300 to 3,500. And guess what she told me? She said, "See, I have figured out this stop loss thing that I can assure you that by December, this account will be seven grand." This is from 300 bucks. 300 bucks. So it's not crazy when we say, what's your risk management? We're so concerned about how much we can make. We don't think about how much we can lose. And you're always at risk because you're the one that's put the money down. You're the one that's put the money down. So you taking a play means you've already put money down. So your money is already at your money is already there. Your money is already at risk because you've already bought into the trade. So your money is already at risk. How then do you then manage that risk so that you don't lose all the money? So that you know if it's going down, you have enough money for the next play, and it's not, because you're gonna I'm telling you the truth. The biggest traders on earth get 30 to 33% success rate. The biggest names you see, their success rate is 30 to 33%. But from those 30 to 33%, less than 40%, they're able to make over 200%, 300% returns on it. We can look at AMD and a couple of the plays we've had recently that has run crazy. Within that same week, we had some plays that tanked, that didn't run. But if I had monies in those plays that were not running, and I saw that AMD was the play that was moving and those plays were tanking, I didn't need anybody to tell me to cut those plays and put the money into AMD because AMD was the play with the momentum that was running. And then when those other plays pick up, I go back into them. I might have seen a play yesterday that was going A to B. And I saw it yesterday. And I woke up today, some news came out, something happened, and that thing now said A to B can still happen, but A to B, rather than happening in 1 week, it will happen in 2 months. My contract expires in 1 week. Do I have to wait till my contract dies in 1 week, or do I cut it out and say, nah, I'll take my 20% loss here and I'll run it into a play that will get me from A to B within 1 week? And then when I get closer to my previous play, I get back into it and I run it up. But these are all things that, we talk about, we mention and all. And it sounds like we're broken records, but we keep saying this because we don't want you guys to be, to lose everything. We don't want you guys to say, F it, this shit is just waste of my money. We've had some really, really good traders who did not adhere to their stop loss and risk management that are messaging me and saying, I'm losing hope. This thing is just sad. I've lost some money. I've lost too much money and this is not sad. And I know I should have been doing my proper risk management. I didn't. So now I'm thinking, and this is where I need you guys to like provide me with some feedback. What can we do to ensure that we're better at this? Because guys, we want to be successful. We talk about being millionaires. I believe that we're going to become millionaires from this group, but we can't do that if we can't manage what we have. If you can't manage 1,000, how can you manage 10,000? You know, they say he who has more will be given more, but you have to manage the first one you've been given before you're trusted with more. But if we're struggling with managing our little accounts now, then how do we plan to grow it up? So this is a conversation that I think I want us to just have. It's not, and I'm guilty of it. I've lost some money as well in the stock market, which is why I'm now so keen on risk management because I've been burnt. So if there's anyone that wants to, provide a suggestion or something that we can do or something that we can communicate out to the group better, I'm all ears. I just want us to get better at what we do. So you guys, if anyone's got any suggestion that they want to try out there, I'm willing to listen.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yeah, it's just quick. I mean, just for me, myself, um, my thing is so there are sometimes like you call out weeklies and stuff like that. Um, and just the entry would be off. So like you'll call it probably like on a Monday and like the entry would be off. So it'll be down like for like two days out the week. And weeklies are risky.
Mm.
But I've seen it like by Thursday or Wednesday, by Thursday or Friday, like it'll start to run while I've already cut it. So I mean, my thing is what probably would work is like as a suggestion because you can call out bomb plays. It's just a better entry. Like just that's pretty much like my only thing. But I know that's kind of even hard to like even manage at that. The entries into the plays, and that's pretty much like my downfall on that is because I'll take the bad play, and then I'll have so much faith because I've seen it happen so many times, and then just sometimes it just don't go through. and you're like, ah, fuck it, But you know,
Mm.
that's my thing too. Is like, sometimes you'll cut it too early because it wasn't the best entry, and then it'll run like the next day, and you're just like, fuck. Or you won't cut it because you'll be like, oh well, last time I cut it,
It's
it played
wrong.
ran the next day. So
Okay.
that's just for me though. I don't know about anybody else, but to me, that's probably the only thing that's like, you know, I would suggest tweaking, but I mean, even I know that's hard as fuck. It's just just having a better entry, if anything. But
Okay.
for the
No,
most
that's
part, this is great.
okay. No, that's fair. I think the one thing I would say is that the entry for a call on Monday, I can assure you, will be different from the entry for the call for that same call on a Wednesday because what price has moved one direction or the other, right? It's not staying there except it's trading sideways. But the call that was made on a Monday by Wednesday, let's use this one as an example that we're seeing here. This is Walgreens, which I think STB asked me to look at. And I think I have a Walgreens $50 call for this week that's already out there. So I'm looking at Walgreens now. Walgreens has, made the move. It's run up, it ran up here, dropped down here, traded sideways here. It's looking like it might pull back tomorrow. I don't know. I don't like what I'm seeing here, but it looks like it might pull back a little bit. Now, looking at this, when I called, let's say I called Walgreens this day. Let's just use this day. My entry for Walgreens would probably have been somewhere here, right? So when I was looking at Walgreens, it was probably around here where I thought, okay, it's crossed over, it's looking like it wants to go and everything. I think I see an entry and I call it here. Walgreens now does this. It comes down here, it comes down here, and it probably pulls back somewhere here. Guess what? My entry for Walgreens is no more here. My entry for Walgreens is now here. So even though I've called out the play, what's happening what's happening each day means I'm having to adjust my entry points for that play because it's not stagnant. It's literally a moving target, right? We have our entry when we're not there yet, when it's not there. But once it has already gone there, crossed it or whatever, it starts moving. So you start looking at things differently from that perspective. So if I look at this, for example, um, let me pull out an actual play that I have. So this is
Maybe NVTA, because that's what I got right on.
NVTA that's a play that is dead, right?
Yeah,
Let me call it
I
out.
mean, I saw the W too. That's why I can't even. I saw the W on the daily. It was supposed to jump.
Yeah, let me see. Is NVTA. Yeah, that one hoodwinked everybody and died, right? So if you look at this one now, this is a play that I've caught a long time ago when I started seeing all these whole things, it just didn't do nothing. It looked like it was gonna go up. They had the news, we had that day of I think that was the day it spiked up and then dropped down. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong? You had everything lined up well for you to run, but it's just not done anything. And looking at this now on the daily, I won't be surprised if it ends here again, if it drops further down here again. So this is one of those L's that I'm saying out of 10 plays, seven might not work. This might be one of those seven. The question now becomes, what do we do when we are in any of those seven? Do we just hold it or do we cut it? This is exactly one of those scenarios. So I could be there saying, and you know, and I say this, not to belittle myself or anything, but so I sometimes I still struggle not to be emotionally attached. I talk about managing your emotions, right? I talk about that a lot in my plays. Sometimes when I've called out a play, if I don't pull myself out from it to look at it holistically, within that period of time, I might still be emotionally thinking, I saw something that this play was gonna go, so it should still go. Right? I'm there doing all that. I'm human. I have my weaknesses as well. I might be there saying, nah, this news was great. The chart was great. Everything about this thing is great. It's still supposed to go, right? And that's my fault. That's where I mess up. I might be there still saying this might be. But if you have your stop loss, regardless of what I say, you're like, nope, my stop loss tells me 20%, 25%, whatever that is, I'm out. It then takes away the conversation from what does T say or what does T think to what are my own principles of trading. What are my principles of trading? What do I believe I should do? What does my trading, what are the six principles I had for every trade I was going to take? You know, so it's allows you to have something that supersedes the play caller. That thing is that's your principle. It should supersede me or any other person calling out a play because it's what you adhere to. And that principle means if you're taking a play from me, from Jay, from Huey, from anybody on earth, your principles are guiding you, not what I think. Because I'll tell you the truth. I really, really 100% hand on my heart thought this play was gonna go. Like I believed this play was gonna go to a fault. Like I was bullish on this play to a fault.
Yeah, I
And I
was.
lost some money on this play.
Yeah, and I mean those three red candles are just crazy, man. Because I
Yeah.
was like, all right, it got a bottom at like 26 or 29, and it just like kept dropping.
Yeah. Yeah. This it just went. Look at it. Crossed it. Had this big one here. Remember, I always talk about two or three candles above the line. We had one candle, we had the second red candle, and the third candle dropped down here. So if the third candle had cropped up here, I'll be like, oh great, I'm averaging down more. This is great. I'm gonna buy more because it's telling me that it's confirmed. But we didn't get our confirmation. This is actually why I like three candles better than two candles, to be honest. Because this third one dropped down here, and then we had this H, and it went up, and we had here. So this one just died. So this was a play that looked good, should be good, but just didn't do it. So while I'm here complaining that I lost some money, if I'd put my extremely strict stop loss here, I should have been out of this play probably from here when it dropped 20%. I should not even be seeing all this part. But I didn't manage this play well. So I fucked up on this one, you know. And this is just one of those ones that it happens. It's a play that eventually is a bad play because we lost money on it. But on the other hand, the question is, what did we do to mitigate that? Did we put our stop loss? And if we didn't put our stop loss, then what are we doing? Because, like I said, we're trading. Our money is already in the market. It's not like we're thinking about putting our money. Our money is already there. So there's only one person that loses in this trade, us, because your money is already there. You've already bought the option. So your money is already on the table. You're the only one that can lose at this point. So if you're not managing it well, you're gonna lose. I lost money on that play. It's that simple, and I know why I lost the money because I didn't manage my play well. It's That's just the simple truth, you know. So let me use this for entry as well. This is Microsoft. I called this play out on Friday. I called two Microsoft plays. I called the 292.5 and then I called it 295 for this week. This is where I ended on Friday, 292.85, right? So it 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 beat our strike. It went past it. Now, when I call this play, and this is why this is important. When I call this play, I said, oh, it was going for 0.63. That's for the 295. That's no more the price now. It's completely different now. The question now becomes, where do you get into this play? For me, remember, I talk about two, three candles. This is my line here. So I need one candle, and I probably need a second candle, a third candle to see where that forms. Either it forms here or it forms here. Whichever that candle is will tell me that, okay, I can get into this play. That means I'll probably have to, if it goes up, I'll probably have to pay more. If it drops down, I'll be like, okay, it's dropped down. Let me see what it does. If it drops down and holds this line here, then I'll know that, okay, I can play between 286. Let's say it drops down and falls down here, right? And I just want to show you something. Let's say it drops down here, just as an example. All of a sudden, my play is no more 290, is no more 295. My play is broken into two. My first play becomes between 285 and 290. That'll be my first play. How do I get into this range here? Because I need to make some money here. If it gets up to here now, I sell it because I know that it dropped. And this, if it drops, I'm just giving you a scenario. If it drops, I know that it dropped here, so I'll sell here and I'll see if it holds above here. If it holds above here, this play becomes active again. That's when this play becomes active. Before then, that play is not. I'm not even thinking about that play. I'm thinking about what's happening here. If it opens above here and I have those three candles, then this becomes my entry. So I could still take the same play. I'm gonna pay more for it because when I call this out, it was down. When I called this out, it was down. It was around here, and it was around here when I called it on Friday, and it ran up here. So that's the way I look at it. So it's not, even if I call out a play, right? It's also a trader's responsibility to say, where is the price right now in this current time? Not when I called it out, not if I called it out on Monday, but where is it right now? That's some form of when we talk about due diligence, that's part of the due diligence that we all still need to do, right? Because what I saw on Monday when I called out the play might have confirmed, might have been invalidated, things might have changed. So you want to use the most current information available to you as at right now to make your call, not what I saw at that point. That's the thing with trading. There's some work to be done if no matter who calls out the play. If you didn't get in the play at that point when it was called, there's some work to be done. And even if you get in the play when it was called and it turns on you, there's still some work to be done. So I'm looking at this now, and this is the weekly. I draw this line on the daily, but look at it. We had this sideways 1 2 1 2 here after this big side, and then you had this above it. So now, just by virtue of looking at it, I'm hoping that this week we either end here or we go past it and open up here and run here. So I already know that if it starts dropping, it could drop down here and it could drop down here. So I will wait to see what it does. And then if it starts dropping down, I know I'm going to look for a put that will probably bring me. Let's say it starts dropping below this. I'm going to be looking for a 285 put. It might not get to 285, but it's going to make me some money. If it gets here and starts going sideways, I'm going to take a call for 290. And then if it gets past 290, I'll take another call for 295, which was my initial target. But I've been able to do 3 plays based off on price action. I've not just taken the 295 and said that's it. I've been able to take 3 different plays on the same ticker based on price action. You see, so it's one because I know we're all busy. Majority of us are not business people. Most of us are still employees. We still have some of you have your businesses. I know. Majority of the people here, they still have a 9 to 5 job or something. So we can't manage. We can't be online, all the time watching every single thing that we do here. But if you see a play, right, rather than just taking the play, I know most of you do your work. So I'm not. I need to give you a credit. A lot of you do the homework, but looking at it to sort of where is it now? Where is it now? If it's here, if you see 3 candles all together trading sideways, and let's say you didn't see this let's say this had not happened. Let's say this happened and this happened on Friday, and we didn't have this. On Monday, automatically you know that price ended. And I'm saying with this two didn't occur. Automatically at the back of your mind, you're like, price stopped here, but it ended here on Friday. So my new price target is this line here because this is where I got to before. So automatically, without doing anything, you know that your price target will be 290. So you want to see it open here above this line here because this is the bottom here. You want to see it open somewhere here and you want to see if it runs up to 290. Remember, we're not even talking about the 295 anymore. We're talking about the 290 because it needs to get to 290 before it gets to 292.5, before it gets to 295. So if it takes 1 week for me to go from here to here, then I know that next week, this play that I called out, it didn't make it this week. I know that next week it will probably make it next week. So I'll then start looking at it to say if the movement is going in that direction, this play becomes an 827 play, no more an 820 play. But it's an active trading. You have to be. It's something that you do actively. You won't take the play and that and just say, yeah, I've taken the play and it's not running. I'm upset or this is happening. And I'm not saying that's what you guys do, but it's something that you have to manage the play. It's easy. The easiest part of trading is taking a play. That's the easiest part of trading. It's getting into the play. There's nothing as easy as just clicking buy. It's easy. What happens between when you click buy and when you click sell or when you exit that play? What happens between there? It's extremely difficult and it needs a lot of you need to it's mentally tasking, but it needs to be done because if you don't do that, you're now hoping everything you're doing becomes hope. You're now hoping that it hits. We don't want to hope that it hits. We want to have some level of certainty that it makes the run. I know that was a long explanation, but I'm trying to just drill this in because the more I say it, the more it resonates with me as well. Because I am not there yet. I'm struggling with this, but like they say, speak it into existence. The more you say things out, the more your brain registers it, the more it becomes, it starts forming a habit. So everything I'm saying to you guys, I'm literally saying it to myself as well, because I need to make this second nature for me. I need to make adhering to my stop loss second nature for me. I need you guys to actually do that as well. And when you do that, you realize that yes, I might find the plays, I might tell you which plays are running, but what happens between there, that's you. That's you. So saying, oh, should I hold? Should I sell? What's happening? Are you still all that is not we're growing, this is trading. If we've been doing this for months, most of us have been doing this for months, if not a year. If we're still asking those questions, then we failed as gold rush because we should have gone past that level. We should know that if it's not running, we should cut it. We should know that if it's running, we let it do what it needs to do. We don't cut winners, but we don't hold on to losers. We should know all these things. It's things that we should know. It's things that we've preached and we've discussed about. So it worries me because we've had really good people that have been working with us for some time say, I'm discouraged. See, things are not working how I wanted to do it. Some of these plays, yeah, I've made some money on it, but I put it into the next one and it goes down, you know. And I'm thinking, so you watch it, and I say this to them because it's happening to me, but I'm like, watch it go from 10%, 20%, 30% down, 40%, 50% down. And because T is saying, oh, I like this play, you're still holding on to. And I know I'm glad you guys respect and trust my opinions, but which is great. But at the end of the day, I'm human like you guys. I'm sometimes biased because I see plays that if I've called out a play, I want to see that play do what I said it was going to do. So sometimes I'm giving it more leeway than I should. So that's the human in me failing. But if you have core principles, whether I say it or not, whether Jay says it, whether whoever says it, you know, it doesn't matter because your principles are what's guiding you in that trade, you know, and I'm good at it. I'm not great at it. I see there are lots of times that, even my fellow gold miners, they'll come out and they say, oh, this play looks like it's running or something. You don't hear me talk about it, or I don't say anything about it because it hasn't met my criteria for a run. So sometimes it looks like it wants to go and then it hangs. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't get into that play because it didn't meet my criteria for entry. So if I was not in micro because I'm already in Microsoft, so I'm I think I was in Microsoft and I think I sold it. I made some profit. I made about 100% on Friday or something. I sold it and then I got out, which well, I'm looking to get into Microsoft again tomorrow. So now I'm looking at Microsoft. But guess what? Now, for those that got into Microsoft on Friday, let me go to the 4 hours. This was probably their entry somewhere around here. This 230 was their entry for Microsoft. But guess what? If I want to go into Microsoft now, this will be my entry here. So guess what? I'm going to pay more for it. But I'll have to wait to get my confirmation that Microsoft is going and then I'll go for it. So the profit that the person made on Friday will be different from what I made. But I understand it. I understand that principle. So I'm going to wait for my entry and get in. Now, whoever got in here on Friday might have made 100% now. The question now becomes, do they want to sell here and then wait for it to confirm above and get in? That's trading. That's where you have to decide how do you want to do this. But I already know that if Microsoft opens up around above, let me even look at the 1 hour. Yeah, look at it. This is bullish. Look at it. It's breaking out from here. We just did this. This is the hourly chart for Microsoft. I want you guys to see what I'm looking at. So it broke out here one. We had the second candle here too. Let's see what the third candle does tomorrow. The next for the first hour of tomorrow. I'm not in a hurry. I'll wait for the first 1 hour for not 10:30, 11 a.m. I'll wait to see what the candle does. If the candle drops down, I'll wait to see if it drops and holds here. That's my entry. If it crosses above here and starts going, I'll wait for it as well. I'll wait and see what it does. But I already know that those that got in on Friday and held, they've gotten they've probably made their money on it already. Now, how they do those trades is up to them. But literally, this is what trading is about. It's nimble. It's not, I'm in, I'm done. I needed to just, nah, it's nimble. You have to be making decisions as the market reacts because the market is not waiting for you. The market is moving, it's changing. So with each move, it's like chess. You take a play here, the market gives you its play, up or down. You say, okay, how do I manage what the market is giving me? You do something else. You average down, you buy out, you close, you wait for another, you're doing all these things, while the market is doing what it does. If the if I'm already in this play, before if I'm looking at this, I call that play because I started seeing this move. We're getting higher, 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 higher. So I'm like, okay, we're getting higher highs now consistently. That's one, two, three, four higher highs already in an hour. So it's telling me that yeah, there's a movement. There's a good movement taking place here. So I like this. I'm bullish about Microsoft. I think Microsoft is still gonna run. So I'm bullish about it. That's why I took that play. If you look at Walgreens was, similar thing. We had our run, then we had our pullback. But if I look at the 1 hour for Walgreens, this is Walgreens 1 hour. So it's run up, and then you have all this sideways. But guess what? This is a flat. Well, it's a pennant, if you want to call it that way. It's flag pennant terminology, smart terminologies people used to make themselves feel good, but it's all the same thing. It's reaching the end, and so let me just do this. You want to make sure it touches at least two candles. So we've got that. Let's see if we do this. How many candles there? Oh, that's broke out. Let me just put it that way. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. So now what I'm looking at here is, and I'll look at Zoom as well, Jay. Um, so it's run up, it's giving me this sideways movement, and it's formed into this edge. What am I expecting now? A decision up or down. So what am I going to do? I'll wait. I'm not going to prejudge this one. I'll wait. If it breaks out from here and gives me two sideways, gives me at least three candles above here, I'm taking a call. Yeah, $50 call is here. It's probably going to take, no, let me see. breaks out here, this is $50 coin. It's probably gonna take a week to get there. I know it's just 49.29, but it's not moving the fastest. So looking at it, I'm like, okay, that's it. So I needed to make that call. I need to make that decision. If it breaks down here, the question now becomes, where do I expect it to drop up to? I expect it to drop to 49.08. Why? Because it's been on 49.08 how many times? One, two, three, four, five. It's been on 49.08 five times. So this is my support. So if it breaks this triangle here, I expect it to drop all the way down here and hold. Just that's it, literally. So whatever this gives to me, and I'm not in, I'm in this play already. So, if it breaks out and continues moving up, if it crosses here and I see my three candles here, I'm already in this play. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy more. It's just what it is. I'm already in the play. So if it breaks out, gives me my confirmation, and I'll buy more because I expect it to keep going up. Excuse me. You know, this is the daily. We'll see what it does tomorrow. But yeah, that's Walgreens. Then let me quickly look at Zoom. But you guys, you see, you can see that everything I'm doing here, it's not one and done. This is information I'm giving to you on a day the market is closed. The market opens tomorrow and everything changes. Everything changes. Whatever the market opens up with tomorrow, it's a whole different ball game altogether. So I'm showing you what the market is giving me now on a closed day. If tomorrow if tomorrow everything changes, we're back to square one. So we'll have to react with what the market gives us again tomorrow. Zoom, I do not like. I know you asked me to look at Zoom. I do not like this at all. It could change. It could change tomorrow. I know they've got earnings on the 30th, but there's nothing to like about this play. Nothing. It's literally forming a H, which means it could drop down further. So it might change tomorrow, but as of right now, I don't like it. Look at it. It's hit resistance here, and then it's coming down. Made a decision and it's coming down. It's gonna come down here to 346 to see if it could bounce off this 200 MA. This is on the 4 hours. It's gonna try to see if it could bounce off here. If it can bounce off here, it's dropping down. And if you look at it on the hourly, no, I don't like this one at all. This is a keep spot for it here. I know it's a COVID play, which remember, and I also say this, the news trumps the chart, right? Strictly on the chart basis, I don't like it. If tomorrow the news comes out that, oh, they are shutting schools down or something is happening or whatever, automatically Zoom becomes a main concern for me. I mean, a main ticker I want to look at because it's going to benefit from that whole movement. So all we're doing now is looking at the chart based on what we see. If the news comes out tomorrow and it's different, our analysis will change. But as of right now, based on what I'm seeing, I do not like this play. I really do not like this play. It's hit support here. It dropped, hit sideways, dropped down, looking like this. It's just bearish as fuck to me. It's very, very bearish. It looks like it could go down. You can see it's already on support here. This thing could drop further down. It could drop further down. So I'm not except I see what it does tomorrow. I always say that. I want to see what the market does. I want to see what price does when the market opens. But for now, right now, as we're sitting here looking at it, I do not like this play.
Was that an H also in the other time frame you had? Because that's a
Yeah, yeah, that was it. I think that was the yep, this is the hourly. Look at it. So the H, well, you guys, when we say the H, you see this formation, it drops down, it tries to run up, it hits resistance, it starts coming down here. But guess what? The support now becomes where the first drop ends, which is here. So if it breaks this line here, it dumps. That's what happens with this play. So if it breaks this line here, it dumps down. So we call this a H because it goes this way, but then this becomes the support because this is where this line ended. And if it breaks this line, it goes further down. That's the reason. It's a bearish pattern. So it's one of those ones you can just easily remember. H, it goes down. It goes like this and down. That's this H side. This other bottom. This side comes down. So it's not one that excites me at all. And if I look at the weekly, yeah, I don't like it. This is support here. It's gone up, round down, come up, round down. Now it's not just that it came down; it's the force with which it came down. This is a very strong bullish candle. I mean bearish candle rather. Look at it; it hit down forcefully. I know, so I don't. I'll wait and see. I'm not touching it, except I want to take a put. If this crosses that line, then I'm taking a put on this one. So if I'm looking for what to do with it. This is actually a put play. I keep saying I'm not touching it, but it's actually a good put play because if this breaks this line at 352, this comes down to 343. So there's money to be made here on the put play actually. So permit me for saying I'm not touching it. If it breaks it, then I think I'll call out a put play for this one. You know. Um. So and I'm glad we're doing both. We were talking about the plays and we're also talking about the things that I think are important for us to hear. But I think and why Mills, thanks because you raised a very good point about the entry and all the rest. But while I'm looking at the tickets that if you guys want other tickets, put it in the chat. But while we're doing that, is there any other thing that any other person wants to talk about as to how we can stop our losses, and stop us from losing our money, our capital? Is one thing for us to lose some of our profits that we made, but losing our capital, that should not be happening. So if anyone's got anything to say about that or contribution or suggestion, I'm open to it. But at the same time, if you guys want me to look at specific tickets, you can put it in the chat and I'll look at it as well. And while doing that, I know Gavin said it that overtrading screwed his portfolio up. I was practically desperate to find those 100 plus plays to regain my losses, especially since it felt so close because the whole gang was hitting big wins. Even though I stuck to my strict stop loss of 30%, those stops added up since I was jumping in called out plays and I lost half of my account. Patience is truly what I needed to practice. And that's Gavin, that's extremely important. Most of you must have seen me forcefully talk to one or two people about being patient and all because I see it. And in trading it's almost like the opposite of patience is not just jumping into the play or not just wait, but it's also being nervous, being a jumpy trader. And we've seen a couple of people become those traders in our group. And there is no way you can be successful if you're a jumpy trader, if every little thing scares you, because you're only scared because you don't know what you're doing. And you don't know what you're doing because you don't have set out principles for your trade. If you had, you said something, Gavin, which is key. You said, yeah, you had 30% stop loss and some of them, but you know what? And yeah, it does add up if you're consistently doing those. So it now becomes an issue of, okay, your stop loss is working. What are you not doing right? And you nailed it. You said maybe you need to be more patient. I know. It's that self recognition that will help you to be successful because now you're saying, I have nailed my stop loss. It's not my biggest problem anymore. Now my problem is being patient, waiting to see how things play out before I jump in or before even if T calls out a play, maybe waiting a few seconds to see or a few minutes to watch how that play turns out or something. And I get in, it's a call, it's something, but at least you're on the journey of understanding who you are and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So for me, even though it sounds like it's bad, it's actually a good thing that you're learning about yourself and about your trades. And whether we like it or not, the market will always collect its tuition. It's just what it is. It's not a great thing, it's not a great feeling, but the market will collect its tuition. The issue is, what are you learning while the market is doing that? Are you just paying it and you're not learning anything, or you're understanding, okay, I've lost some money, this is happening, but this is what I did right, and this is where I think I'm not doing well, so I need to work on here. You seem to be doing that, Gavin, already. So for me, I think it's more of a plus. The money, you've lost some funds, and I get that, but you're learning and you're deciding what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and I think that's very important. I think that's very important. And it's funny I say this. I learned so much from you guys that you don't understand. Someone like Aisha, for example, and I said this the other day. She said something to me, while I was still in the other group about some of my. She was like, "See, I've noticed that your plays, when you call it out, they pull back a little bit and then they run up afterwards." I'm like, "Oh, why is that?" And I started doing some research. I'm like, okay, am I calling at the right point? That's why the whole thing about three candles came into, because initially I'll see one candle and I'll call it out, and then it drops down, and then you're like, oh God, I just go into this plan, I'm already 20-30% down, and then it runs up later or something. I'm like, okay, so do I start to wait for the three candles for the confirmation? So that's why I keep saying I'm happy to pay more to get my confirmation. It's not always going to work, but I can beat my chest to say I have more success rates than majority of the people you'll come across ever. Because dude, we're hitting 70%, 65%, 80% some weeks, you know, 15 over 18 plays, 12. I can beat my chest anywhere, anytime. Say our success rate is amazing. The question is, how heavy are we going in those plays? And where does it really affect us? So it's I have some work to do there, but I think you guys as well, as a group, we also need to, like, you know, hold ourselves to say, okay, we can do better than we're doing in some instances without needing me or anyone at all to say anything, you
Can
know.
I say something?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Um First, thank you so much for taking the time to go through this. Even though you have your daughter over there. So I really appreciate that.
No worries.
Uh, the other thing, whoever that person is that you mentioned, I only hope she has a really great trajectory. That's a really great winning, and it sounded like it's all discipline and things like the she values are or he, whoever this person is.
Is she?
It's a she. She's valuing things that I hear when you told that story. I'm like, okay, so things. Just going back to the basics, like not being greedy, not chasing plays. I think those are like the two for me are my weakest, or I don't like to say that, big areas of opportunity for me.
Mhm.
Is just I'm still trying chasing and stuff. I had to change also my strategy in the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of working around it because I had to go back to work full time.
Mhm.
So for a while I went crazy because I love making money, and I have like managed, not only am I managing multiple plays, I was also managing multiple broker accounts, which is insane. So what I did for myself, for my sanity, um I'm not ready to quit my daytime job. That's still my main source
Source
of
of
income
income.
for now. So for now I left a lot of my broker accounts on cash. They're just sitting on cash. So I would recommend, if anyone is losing on plays and you're not doing a good job, then you shouldn't have multiple broker accounts like me. So that was stupid on my end. The other example, and I'm only sharing this because my mistakes. I think I've said this before. Like, paying yourself is so important. Um, I didn't really do that much great job this last couple weeks, but I'm still trying to pay myself because it's still a win, even if it's just like 50, $100. I know it's stupid, but it's a psychology thing behind it that really also you're building in this journey. For me is my emotional, your emotional quotient is also growing with your technical is growing, your knowledge is growing in this journey. So you got to feed your mind, your emotional self too, of like things you're doing good. So for me, my is paying myself.
Mhm.
Um, the other so what else was I gonna say? Oh, the last thing I was gonna say is when you call out your plays, I sometimes what I have been doing, because you're human, so, you don't know what the freaking market is gonna do, but you call out fire plays, they're ready to go. So what I have done is what has helped me. It's either if you have the money, I go deeper in the money that you call. So whatever strike you called, sometimes I
Mm,
go a little deeper.
mm,
Um, and I also what I've done is I go further out on the expiration. Um, a lot of it has now in the last couple of weeks is because if it does pull back, your capital, your initial investment doesn't, you don't
yes.
lose as much,
Yeah.
because it's further out on the expiration, and if you're deeper in the money. So maybe I can't get in every single play or get as many contracts, but I rather incrementally win
Yeah.
than home runs. Um,
Mhm.
anyway, that's it.
And you don't know how pleased I am you said that you shared that with us because it's really valuable information, and that is a strategy. And you guys want to talk about strategy. That's just a strategy that she just described, what she does. I call out a play for 190, she gets a contract for 187. I say it expires 820, she probably goes for 827. I've seen people, I've seen people, and and I'll tell someone, oh, it plays for 827. The person will say, I took your same call, the same strike, but I took it for 820. So you shorten the time that I initially anticipated by a week, but you're expecting the same returns. I've seen this real time where somebody messages me to say, oh, T, I saw your play. It was for next week. I took it for this week expiration. And I'm like, okay, I don't say anything. I just say, okay. Because what do you say to that? There's a reason I called it out for next week. Now, STB is saying she's even willing to put an extra week on it to say, you called it for 190, 820. I'm going to take a 187, 827. So she's bought more in the money and she's put an extra week on top. It's going to cost her way more money than the one I called, but it gives her a level of security and an extra week for the play to do what it needs to do. That's one strategy. And if it's working for her, amazing. You know, now people message me to say, T, a lot of the plays you guys are calling have been scalps or day trades and all, and we don't want to do that. We like to take our trades and give it some time to materialize because we work and we can't do that all the time. Some of the plays I've got lined up for this week are all going to be swing plays that run into September, allows you enough time to get what you want to do. And you can play those plays 5 times, 3 times, as much as they keep going. You can take your profit, pay yourself back, you know, take the new one, take your initial capital, invest it again, however you want to do, you can do that. But it's a strategy, and the strategy about paying yourself is vital because I think I wrote it, was it last, no, the week before last, that was the first time I ever paid myself. And guess what? It felt fucking good because every time I keep the money on in my brokerage account, for the first time I took it out and said, no, I made profits here. Let me pay myself. And I paid myself and I felt good about it. On Friday, this particular play, I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? Let me just throw $500 in it and see what I can get out of it. When I called out NVDA display, right? Um, display. Look at, I called out display NVIDIA, and I go in. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah, I called out display. It ran up from here to here. I put $500. It gave me 1,120. I sold it on Friday and I just got out, right? I'm not, because that was the focus. The focus was not to keep this money in there. The focus was flip your 500 into a grand, take out your 500, lift the other 500. So I sold it. It hasn't settled yet, but tomorrow that balance should settle. I'll take $500 and pay myself and I'll leave 620. So I've grown that 500 to 620 on my brokerage, but I've also paid myself $500, which was my initial capital I put there, and I've taken it out. Simple, rinse, repeat, no stress. That's all I did on Friday. Now I'm looking at this plan. I'm saying, fuck, NVIDIA is gonna go. NVIDIA is looking like fire right now. Like, I love this ticker. It's hit down here. It had its decision making, the reversal. This candle here took out these two candles here. So it's great. I like it. It needs to open above here. It opens above here. NVIDIA is going this way. I'm looking at the 1 hour and I'm like, NVIDIA, it looks amazing on the 1 hour. It's gone up. It's traded sideways. Had the first bull up here. It needs to cross here. I'm looking at the 4 hours. This is NVIDIA 4 hours. It's gone this way, hard here, hard here. So I needed to cross here. So everything on NVIDIA is telling me entry. This is my entry here. I'm going to wait for NVIDIA to cross here and see my confirmation, and then I take a play for NVIDIA. But NVIDIA, already this play here was for 820, 205 for 820. That price is no more. That price has gone up according to Joe. According to Joe, yesterday's price is no more to this price. That shit has gone up, so I'll have to probably pay some more for it. And now I'll be looking at it to say, do I really think 205 is where I should earn, or should I be looking at 207 for next week? So I'm looking at the 205. I'm also thinking, do I be looking at 207 for next week, based off on what I'm seeing here? Because all I'm seeing in NVIDIA is bullish as fuck. There's nothing here that tells me NVIDIA won't run. Nothing. NVIDIA looks amazing right now. And what they've got earnings on the 18th, which is on Wednesday. So I expect a run up to NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. And funny enough, I still think NVIDIA is going to still run up post earnings because of, the split. They got more money coming in, more people are investing into it. It went from this was the day of the split. 4-for-1 split. It went from 182. It's now at 201. I mean, it went from, what was it? Let me see. No, it's not. This thing is killing me. I can't seem to hide it, but maybe 180 or something, or thereabout. Yeah, it went from like 180 to, so within that period of time when they had the split and now they've made like $20 per share. So they've actually had more money coming in on this share alone. So they've generated more income between here and here. So everything about NVIDIA is bullish to me. So it's one of those plays that I'll take for this week, and I'll gamble if the earnings, I don't know if it's pre or post. It's probably going to be post market. I'll check. I'm not sure. I've not done my homework yet. If it's before the market opens, after the market closes, but I'll definitely be in a play on NVIDIA, probably one or two. I'm not going to risk too much there. It's a gamble I'm going to take, but I think NVIDIA is looking good. Plus, remember what I said, the market is already getting into this. So if NASDAQ starts looking really good and we start getting our breakout on NASDAQ, which is going to pull tech, then I expect NVIDIA to run off the back of this tech movement. So we're watching. We'll keep our eye on that as well. Okay, perfect. After close, I'm definitely taking that shit. NVIDIA after close. Yep, thank you. So you guys can see this is how you mirror them together, and if it goes down, we did our best. We looked at the chart, we looked at everything, we looked at, SPY, we looked at NASDAQ, we looked at where NVIDIA is, we made an analysis based off on where the price was during the split, where it's at now, the trajectory is going off, is dropped down, is hit support here, and is making a reversal. So everything we made was based off on what we see and what we have. If it decides to tank, we can look back and say we did the best we could with the information available to us. It just did not work out the way we wanted it to work out, but at least we're going to bed knowing we did everything we could based off on the information that was available to us for NVIDIA. That's how I trade. So this one. So I think what the information STB gave us or shared with us is very important. It's very vital. Discipline, patience, and just realizing that if you don't have capital, you can never trade. So protecting your capital is important because with no capital, you can't trade. So losing all your capital makes no sense, regardless of if even I say the play is gonna go and you don't, and it goes against your criteria, cut it. I'm human. I'm a biased human. I'm a biased human. I called out the play. I might want the play to run so badly that I fail to see the things I should see. I'm not perfect. I fail to see the things I should see because I'm biased, because I called out the player and I'm like, oh, this player I want it to go. It's very possible. So, but if your criteria is guiding you, whether I say so or not, you don't care. You're gonna cut it because it's your criteria, you know? So guys, I know this was longer than I expected it, but I just wanted us to have this conversation before we go into this week because I'm sorry, my little one is not crying, but is there any last minute question before we go?
I got one, T Money.
Yes, go on, buddy.
So I had to jump out, man. I just tapped back in not too long ago, so I kind of missed everything. But I'm a I'm a I'm gonna replay it. But so quick. Hopefully this be quick. When you looking at plays, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you kind of like what's a good way to look at how it can pull back from from where you call it at?
All right.
Because it could be looking like, all right, this, you put out a play and it looks like it's going to go in this direction,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it don't go in the direction where it's supposed to go, and it pulls back.
Okay.
It pulls back to a point where it's like, okay, if I get in, I'm setting my stop loss at this, and hopefully it doesn't hit my stop loss. But for me, some of the plays that I do get in, it's like I've been getting good with setting stop losses, typically around 15 to 20%. But it's like most of them, if not all of them, always seem to hit my stop loss, and then they start to go.
So it now becomes an issue of, so do you need to adjust the stop loss if you're saying that that's the case? Because that's where that's the thing. A 10 to 15% stop loss for me is too tight. This is me personally. It's too tight because plays will pull back 20% sometimes, you know? So what's a stop loss that I like to use? I like using 25 to 30%. In my head, I'm looking at it to say I'm willing to lose 30% to make, 70% or whatever percentage. I'm okay with that.
Right.
I'm okay with that because I know that price sometimes will pull back before it goes up. I always talk about it like I think about it like a slingshot. Sometimes you have to pull it back sometimes for it to take off. That's how I imagine it. So my question now becomes, how far back do I want it to pull back? How far back am I comfortable with it pulling back before it takes off? You know? So that's how I like to think about it. So I want to use an example. Look at these two trades. I'll use these two that I called out on Thursday, Blink and Vroom. I want to show you something. Um, and I like this ones exact because Vroom, I know not many people took this play, and it's not fancy, it's not exciting, it's not one of the big names, but this was Vroom. I called out the put. This was the put for Vroom. It was $30 put by 820. This is not last week. This is 820, a $30 put. This is Vroom. Vroom is at $30. So this was a call that was there for everyone to see and take, right? It did not negate it. It met all the criteria for it to go down. And guess what? It's still going to go down this week. I expect it's holding here a little bit, but I still expect it to go down a little bit this week. Let me see the 4 hours. Okay, it's going sideways. All right, that might be. You know what? I'll wait and see. But that call most people made their profits and got out of it because this gave over. This was going for 35 cents. I can check it how much that's going for now, but that'll take some time. But I know that this play, when I called it, not many people looked at it. It was somewhere around here. When I called that play, it was at 30. When I called this play on the 12th, yep, this was it. It was around here. So it's around $33. It dropped $3. So this was one that went well. This clicked. But look at the other one, which was Blink. This one is the one that disappointed on it pulled back, not as far back as I wanted it to pull back. Now look at Blink. The call was 30 puts for 820. This was where is it? Let me look at this was Blink on the 12th. This is where it went. It dropped to 32.5, right? So for you, if someone would have looked at that play to say, oh, you called out Blink, but it went up, as in it had this green stuff. I think you'll see it better on the hourly. If you're looking at it, you'll be like, oh, see, you called out Blink that it was gonna drop, but it went up this way. This is literally the reversal of what you were talking about. It went up this way, right? And started pulling back down. If I had all the conviction in this play, I would be buying more puts here because I know that if it doesn't cross this line and hold here, it's gonna keep dropping down. And it kept doing that. However, we're having this whole thing here. So now I'm thinking, is this play still gonna be valid, or is it one of those plays that I have to cut off because it's holding in this support? I want it to drop down, but we had this green candle on the hourly. So even though this Blink play was for 820, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I need to see what it does tomorrow because that green candle on the hourly, I don't like it. However, when I look at the 4 hours, I am seeing this move here. I'm seeing a H forming here, which means it could drop down to 29. The question now becomes, can it drop to 29 in a week? If it continues dropping, and I'm looking at this one as well, and I'm saying, okay, this thing could still drop down. And I took out all the drawings because I want you to see what I do. I then take this line here and I tap it. So, okay, how many places? I'm looking at it this way. I'm like, okay, this is my resistance line. As long as this candle between Monday and Tuesday or whatever, maybe Monday and Tuesday, as long as it can't cross this line and it keeps coming down, I am still gonna hold on to this put because I know that this is my target. So regardless of even if it's going up, because for you, you're like, oh, T has called out a put, it should drop down. But if the put is going this direction here, as long as it doesn't break this line, I am still holding that play because it still meets my criteria. If it gets here and gets rejected and starts coming down, my play is valid. If it breaks this line and gets into here, then I'm cutting out of this play. But each of these steps, I am making a decision. I am watching it. I am deciding, am I holding? Am I cutting? What is it doing? So I'm not just taking the play, or I'm not just looking at the play and saying, oh, it should do this or it should do that. I'm saying, what is it doing? And what do I do based off on what my eyes is telling me? And my eyes is telling me that on the daily, yes, we had a green candle, but if I look at the hourly, we had a red candle, but if I look at the hourly, we had a green candle form here. So I need to see what the next 2 hours of tomorrow looks like. So if I watch this for 2-3 hours tomorrow, if it crosses here, fine. If it continues to drop down, I'm like, okay, this play is still valid. I need to just buy more puts. But all this is decision making I am making based off on what the chart is doing real time on that day. Not what I called it. I called it out on Friday. I called it out on Thursday. Vroom has done what it should do. Vroom did what it should do within a week. This has not done what it should do within the first week. The question now becomes, is this play still valid this second week? And I will not know until the market opens and I see what happens here. So I am not taking the play and folding my hands. No, I'm watching it to say what is happening and what's my criteria for holding this play and what's my criteria for exiting this play. So that's how I look at it. It's not a one and done thing. It's a continuous monitoring. It's a continuous, understanding of where price is at that point in time in the grand scheme of things. Because all this hourly charts, like I said, everything that's happened is here on the daily, is still underneath my resistance line. So I need to see it. If it breaks this line, everything I'm planning is invalid. It tried to break the line here, it couldn't. Look at it. It's been on this. It tried to break it here, it couldn't. It dropped down. It came here and it dropped down. I would like it to continue to drop down. If it does that, then that play still remains valid. If it doesn't do it, it becomes in, that play is dead. But that's how I look at it. It's that straightforward to me, to be honest. And I expect this play to continue to drop down here. I think it's gonna pull back, but we'll see. And if it breaks this line, we have another target here for 25 or 20, yeah, 26. We have another target here. Now, that's not going to happen in a week. So the question now becomes, if this play hits this target, how long do I think it's going to take to hit this target if it's going to hit that target? That then becomes the next play I'll be looking for next week or the week after to say, okay, we have a target for 26. Can it get there within 1 week, 2 weeks, based off on what I'm seeing here, based on the trajectory, start making all those decisions. But it's not what I saw on Friday was good on Thursday, was good on Thursday. What I see on Friday, I will adjust to that information. What the market gives me on Monday, I will adjust to that information as well. So I'm not taking a play and say I've taken the play and that's it. I'm managing my play based off on what the market is giving me each day. You know. So guys,
Gotcha.
okay,
Good looking out, bro. I appreciate it.
no worries, buddy. I know this is 2 hours. This is really long. I wasn't planning to do this, but I think I wanted us to have a good conversation, which I think we did. So I appreciate all of you that were on this call with me. This will be available. So hopefully you guys can go back, look at it, and we'll start, cutting out some of the mistakes we've been making and protecting our money because we can't keep losing funds, man. We work too damn hard to lose all our money on trades that we just need to. If we just add some principle to it, we'll save ourselves that stress. So hopefully we have a great week. So thanks everyone, and y'all have a good enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and we'll see tomorrow.